And then there's this expectations of companies, especially the biggest players, to cascade, their commitments to their suppliers, and to leverage the power they have on their suppliers to move, them in the right direction. And so then you have these challenges, because suppliers are, some big suppliers, they might have the data, but smaller suppliers, they don't have the resources, they don't have the knowledge to actually provide that data. So companies need to then engage with them, provide certain trainings, a kind of I don't know, include them in certain platforms in order to get to that data. And it's a very a robust process. It's very difficult for the company on one side, and for that suppliers, those smaller companies as well. And it's kind of difficult to say how successful companies today are with gaining that data. We are working with some very large companies, and they always communicate that it's very, very difficult for them to even ask, their suppliers. And if we talk about carbon footprint and the scope 3,
Absolutely.
which is the 90% of all GHG emissions for almost all companies, and it needs that a stakeholder engagement, and that supplier engagement. And if you can't move from the estimate data to actual data, it's very difficult that your scope 3 will get any lower. If you can't leverage your power towards those suppliers, it's very difficult that your scope 3 emissions will get any lower. So it's a lot about partnerships, about kind of engagement, cooperation, which is not always like very cost intensive. So it doesn't, maybe it's not like the biggest I don't know, investment, but it's very time secure, time consuming, right. So it's very time consuming, because you need to work with those suppliers. It will not happen otherwise.
You're hitting on 4 or 5 points, but let me go on a couple of them. So at AKFI, we did a study a couple of years ago with the help of very dedicated students and interns on Walmart. And we looked at their requirements for their supply chain. And they were probably originated by the legal department, because in some way they were almost funny, because Walmart is big and they have zillions of suppliers and so on. So they have buying power. So they thought if they have buying power, they have also the ability to demand data from the suppliers, or else, you give us the data or leave. But that doesn't work that way, because if you are a large distributor, you have maybe 10 major suppliers, but there are not another 10 suppliers that do sustainability and are ready to step in and say, okay, we'll deliver according to you, sir or madam, according to your rules, right? So it was very interesting, this. Another aspect is magical thinking about AI. AI will come and solve the data problem. No, it's the other way around. The AI with bad data is bad AI. AI with good data it's questionable if it's trustworthy, if it's auditable. But this sort of the second level of the data quality, right? But AI will not fill the holes missing in data reporting. There's a third aspect, is the aspect of my data. First thing you said, it even companies, the customer companies do not have full access to their own data, right? It's everywhere. I'm joking and I'm saying data is everywhere and nowhere to be found, right? Because yes, we have it, but it's in marketing. No, it's in finance. No, it's in legal or sales and so on. So there is this aspect of data availability, which transfers also to the supply chain, as you mentioned, especially carbon footprint. It's a very clear example where 70, 80, 90% of carbon scope 3 comes from these companies. The other thing is the data, it's also proprietary. It may have trade secrets. It may have sales data. You don't want necessarily a supplier to give you the cost factors of your products. You don't disclose that, or you didn't have to disclose. Now, if you give access to too much data, that can be referred or extracted from the data you have. So there are a lot of problems with the data, and it looks like to finish with another part of the picture, we talked about regulatory and a little bit about standards like CSRD. These are company by company. We didn't see really standards that look at the supply chain horizontally, in the sense that how data has to flow from the supplier back to their customers. Right now, if you look at the classic supply chain, the requirements are coming from the customer to the supplier. So a lot of requirements are in the form of prices and delivery dates. There is no requirement, as you mentioned. Companies have problems to ask for data because it's not in the contracts. It's not in the supply agreement. So it's a whole transformation that sustainability sort of brings in. And now, to complete the picture that you brought in, with the finance industry, with the insurance industry asking for quality data, auditable data, right? They don't want just a glossy report. They will say, well, how do I audit your suppliers? You claim your suppliers are delivering, they have a sustainability program to put electric vehicles, let's say, and reduce the carbon footprint. What is that? Can I audit it? So I think I brought a ton of problems which are with data today, and they don't seem to be addressed as much as there are the problems with other aspects of the sustainability, right? I don't know if you notice the same, if you have any thoughts about it.
Yes, I mean, as you said, it's such a challenge. It's like mission impossible, So
hopefully not. Hopefully not.
So the companies really don't, are not really ready, I would say, to tackle that problem in terms of data in supply chains, right? But I believe that the key is in collaboration and engagement, but in terms of trainings, I believe that the big companies should work more on training their suppliers and working with them, right? And it will not happen overnight, but it's about this relationship. And then if you have a certain relationship, and you will not have this a relationship with every supplier, so as you said, it will be, with your key suppliers, right? But if you have that relationship, if you explain to them why this is important to you, what this means for your business and for the wider economic situation, and what's the role of that supplier in that picture, then I believe that step by step it could change, and it hopefully it will change in time.
We actually working right now in AKFI to something which we named it STS, Sustainability Transaction Standard. I'm of the opinion we need to change it to Sustainability Trust Standard, because
Okay,
the
yeah.
first aspect is to build this trust relationship. It's before before I ask you for a loan or ask you for your data or ask you for a thing, you should trust that I'm going to pay you or
Yeah.
compensate you in some way. So we found that this trust relationship needs to be changed significantly as you, for instance, include your supplier in the audit process. Yes, tier 1 suppliers, tier 2 suppliers. The other thing we found out through this exercise, there is an efficiency problem, because if you are a major supplier to Walmart, maybe you are a major supplier to Target or name the big store chains in the Europe as well. They have different requirements for supplying data, so they can get hit with 4, 5, 10 different set of requirements. Help us with this, help us with carbon footprint, help us with reporting on how you use green energy, and so on. And seems to be adding up to the stress of the supplier, because if they have multiple customers, they need to respond to all of them. So we see an opportunity for developing processes and standards around this. But we'd like you back, but we don't let you without another question.
Okay.
And you are an educator. You have students, and you have and I don't know how you keep up with all this list of activities and responsibilities. But what we do in AKFI, we work with interns. Many, and we see a dedication actually by Gen Zers, not only in the US or the Americas, but also we have people from all over the place, from China, from UK, from Europe. How do you see their career pathway if they want to go to sustainability? And this is one half of the question, because the other half is we also have we advise people that are in mid-career change and they want to move to sustainability as well. So how do you see these two distinct groups in some way? How would you advise them?
Okay. Okay. So I believe in lifelong learning. So that's like, I mean, especially for sustainability, but I believe in every aspect of work you need to, be and stay on top of your, your expertise and your knowledge, and you have to be ready to continue learning as develop your career. So for sustainability, I think that, I mean, I would definitely advise students and those that are looking to change careers to focus on an area where they see that they can make the most impact. So none of us, no person on this earth can be an ESG or sustainability expert. This does not, happen. So you cannot be an expert in environmental and social and governance aspects. And even if you look at the environmental aspects, you have climate, you have circular economy, you have a biodiversity. So those are all, it's like they are connected, but those are very, different areas. So you cannot really expect to become a sustainability expert. You need to find maybe your niche, maybe that area where you have either some qualifications and you want to develop, or that area where that is an area where your company has put a focus on and you want to move into this new role. So you have to see what you want to do with your career, and then develop you can develop like a technical knowledge in that area. But then that might not be enough. I think that besides the technical knowledge, you also need to have a strategic insight of the broader a picture. So develop a technical knowledge in one area that you're focused on, but then have this ability to see the wider picture and to connect different puzzles, because it's all connected. You cannot talk about climate change without talking about the social aspect of that climate change, right?
Absolutely.
Or the governance aspect. So it's all connected. So I don't know, I hope I helped. Not sure if this answer is
sure. No, you absolutely painted the picture. You have to be a specialist in one part, as you mentioned, of sustainability, and again, there are many parts. You clearly on environmental, and there are the same on social and so on. On the other hand, you also painted that you need to understand the system level. You need to understand the big picture. And this is actually that led me to sort of another direction. We see also executives that are now need to understand the mechanisms of sustainability without becoming an expert in sustainability, right? So let's say what's sustainable finance? How do I get? Let's say you are in the finance, you are a CSO. How do I get access to green bonds? What do I have to do, right? How do I get reduced taxes because of sustainability or government grants? So absolutely, there are multiple aspects, and I think you touch on all of them. As you touch on all of them during our dialogue today. I want to invite you back, and before letting you go, I want to thank you for taking the time to visit with us today. I want to tell our audience to make sure to tune in every week for a new episode of AKFI's Actionable Talks series, where you'll gain new perspectives on how to mitigate risks and create value by integrating ESG, sustainability, AI, and digital transformation, and on today's discussion, also supply chain. Until next week, goodbye from Vali and Manuel. Thank you, Vali.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.